Hello, everybody. Today we're going to do a brief parent education session about how to play with your child. And really, I've been hearing a lot of feedback from a number of parents about how difficult it is to get your child to begin work or to sustain work. Remember, you're always working on increasing vocabulary, increasing social reciprocity, and conditioning yourself as someone that is fun to be around and someone your child wants to play with through play. So today we're going to talk about making play purposeful. First of all, the who. Play is important for everybody. Really, for kids, it's the way that they learn about the world. In preschool and even earlier, kids pick up new skills across all domains: fine motor, language, social reciprocity, academics through play. Again, it facilitates all those skills and certainly important for social behavior. Play can look different for different people. Some people prefer to play with others in a big group, and some people prefer more of a solitary play situation or prefer to do things alone. Although some of our students may play a little bit differently than other students due to maybe a lack of language or imitation skills, we need to make their play meaningful and make it count. Make it something that they want to do over and over, but also, again, that avenue for learning. So throughout your days, especially while your children are at home, they should have opportunities to play both alone and for interactive and facilitated play. Sorry, I'll make that a little bigger for you guys. What I would do is I would choose times to play with your child when they have your undivided attention. So there might be times where your child's playing alone while you're working or otherwise occupied, but set aside a couple of even 5 to 10-minute sessions per day where there are no distractions and where your child and their play has your undivided attention. When you make these kind of opportunities for play, take into account their attention spans and also what particular activities they'll enjoy. Make sure that you're prepared with those activities and you're ready to make proactive transitions. So, some of our kids only have short attention spans, so they might only play with a toy for maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Just make sure you have enough things to keep them occupied and engaged with you during that time. To set up a facilitated play session, I would pick an area where you want to teach your child through play. Oftentimes a specific area is best, so then they're not roaming or able to disengage with you. We want you to enhance the play experience, not be somebody that's kind of a nuisance that your child is trying to get away from. Pick a place where you have some control over the toys. You don't want kids, again, jumping from one thing to the next. You want to control what they're playing with and how long, and kind of facilitate that. That doesn't mean you have to deny them of anything, but if you're in charge of it, it creates an opportunity where they need to ask or gesture or initiate with you to get that toy, which is a great skill to work on. So again, why is play so important? It really is important to start that relationship building. We don't want work or learning to feel hard. So spending some time, meaningful time with your child through play, we can then start to eventually incorporate some of those more strategic skills or some of that work time. In the beginning of the year at school, we spend weeks upon weeks pairing with students, meaning just doing relationship building, enhancing, playing with things, making the toys and activities they're doing more fun because we're around. Play gives us a giant opportunity to just model a ton of vocabulary and how to use language without demanding our children to speak. So providing lots of modeling when we're playing with any toy and using a lot of vocabulary and language is important. Another thing you can do through play is just provide some opportunities for your student to request. We want it to feel easy. We want kids to practice asking for things they want and need, and play really creates a stress-free situation where children may be able to ask for things that they want. It's important, again, as we talked about in the man slideshow, to make sure that you're talking to your child's teacher about how they can request. Is it through a point? Is it through asking? Is it through a full sentence? Can we work on kids specifying with adjectives during requesting. Again, that's really different for each kiddo, and I would make sure to ask your child's teacher. And of course, when you're playing, something that's really important is to reinforce other social bits. So children looking at you, gesturing at you, showing you something, any kind of interaction is something you want to pay attention to and really praise your child for doing. So remember, something that's really, really important is your child choosing a toy and playing something. It's already fun. So you have to take that play to the next level, and you need to enhance the experience so that essentially your child wants you there and wants to continue having that play experience with you. It's really important, even with our little guys, that you sit so the child can see you. A lot of times people kind of put their child between their legs and they're facing out, and play is the same with them behind them. So make sure your child can see you and interact with you and see your face. Remember, the child is in charge, so follow their lead. I know that's very hard because traditionally we want to sit at the table, we want to ask them lots of questions or show them how to do things and then make them do it. Don't do that with this kind of play. Make sure that you're really following what they're doing. And again, I think the biggest thing to remember is just enhance that play experience. So how you're going to play is, again, you're going to provide some access to preferred items and activities. You can also have students request items while they're playing. Something we talked about in the man slideshow is, remember, we want probably one request, and then we want to give kids about 3 things for free first. We don't want to have them ask over and over. If we're building a block tower, we don't want them to have to ask for every single block. We want it to still remain fun but also still work on skills. Narrate, narrate, narrate. Make sure that you're providing those models for language and narrating what's happening. Now, narrating is very different than asking a ton of questions. So you're saying something like, the car is blue, zoom, it's fast. You're not giving demands or asking questions. What color is the car? Is it going fast? Is it going slow? Those are all kind of academic or language-based skills that might feel hard for your child. So when you're playing, try to refrain from questioning your child and just narrate and model the language. Use a ton of praise and approvals when you're working on play, and make them specific to what you're seeing. So for example, if you're doing puzzles, I love how you are putting puzzles together. If you're playing pretend with baby dolls or a kitchen, awesome, I love how you put that baby to sleep. Really specify what your child's doing. That helps reinforce the behavior and also models even more language. Make sure you're bringing enthusiasm and energy while also taking your child's sensory needs into account. Some of our students love when we are loud, excited, bright, and then others hold their ears when we do that. So just keep in mind what will work for your child. And again, refrain from those demands. We'll show you that on the next couple of slides, a difference between narrating and demands. Here are just some early skills taught through play. Again, all those requests are there. Imitation. So I'm going to put the top on the pot. Now you're going to do it. Emulation is different than imitation in that your child tries to copy something you did, but they maybe didn't see you do it. So they're copying the product, but not the process of making the same thing as you did. Bids for attention, a huge one. Again, if you're enhancing that experience and you're making it more fun for your child, then they're going to look for you to continue to interact with them and do some bids for attention. And then, of course, that reciprocal play, that back and forth, which is really important for social growth. So we talked a little bit about the importance of narration, but I just want to specify a little bit more the difference between narrating, which is what we want on the right, and a demand. So narrating while playing with cars would be like, this is a red car. Wow, this car is so cool. But a way you could make this less exciting and probably, more stressful for your child is saying, what do you want? Do you want this car? We're asking them to do a lot instead of just enhancing that play opportunity. There are a couple other examples here. Again, asking questions, all demands, asking your child to show you or give you something. while in time, we definitely want our students to do those things. We just want to be mindful of how many demands we're giving so we don't tip the scales in play being something that's hard or difficult or something we don't want to do. We want to really use that modeling and that narrative language to increase the probability that your child will want to continue to play with you. Simple way to remember, if you're providing too many demands, just keep track of how many questions you're asking them. Because if you're asking a question, then the expectation is an answer. Also remember that it's okay to mix in times where your child requests and other skills, but again, try to make sure that you're making play more fun by you being there. Remember, you can always email your child's teacher or me to set up an individual coaching session. And check out the links on our website. We will be putting up some models of play later on. Thanks again for coming to Parent Ed, and we are excited to continue working with your child, although virtually. All right, take care.